Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we talk to individuals, businesses, and organizations who are taking the lead and whose actions are impacting the well-being of their communities and the world at large.
Welcome back to Money with Mission. Today I have a friend of mine, Deborah Razo, who is a very independent spirit and started her first business in 1990. After owning and partnering in several successful small businesses, she realized that her path to financial freedom was through real estate investing. In addition to her business degree and graduate work at UCLA's Anderson School of Management, Deborah expanded her investing education in 2011 with a series of intensive workshops with Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Advisors, and the Real Estate Radio Guys. She is also the founder of Women's Real Estate Network, a community where women in real estate excel and empower each other. We share experiences, resources, and tools to help one another grow both personally and professionally. That is Deborah's quote. Currently, there are chapters in Los Angeles, Seattle, Orange County, Phoenix, Atlanta, and San Diego. More to open later on in Vegas and DC. And she was recently named Woman to Watch by the national publication Think Realty and was recently selected to be on the cover of the women's issue in March of 2020. So 2020 was something really big besides COVID happened in 2020.
Well, it was like,
Deborah.
Let's release this magazine and then shut everything down. Oh, what a year.
Was that the women's issue of Think Realty, or which women's issue was this?
It was. And it was, everybody was, we were gearing up for launching our big annual event with the Women's Real Estate Network, WREN. And we got the word that everything got shut down, right? So it was like, ooh, like you're amping up, you're heading that hill, and then you're like, oh no, plateau. Flat line.
I mean, it was a screeching halt, fall on your face for a lot of people, It was like such a sudden stop that
it
was.
Yes, last year, we were, you and I were both joking, I had to put my big girl panties on a lot last year,
Yes.
It was one of those years, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. So I'm not unaccustomed to pivoting. I'm not unaccustomed to a lot of problems being thrown my way and having to respond. But it was big. It was a lot, not only for the Women's Real Estate Network, but for, my real estate business as well. And I think a lot of people are feeling the effects, and, now we're kind of coming out of it, but it's a new world now, right? So
new world. New world.
Yeah.
100%.
New world, new me. I just don't know what the new me is yet.
Another thing we were talking about, how that causes a lot of stress and not knowing what am I doing? What am I going to do? Do I go back to where I was before, or is this a permanent pivot and another pivot off of that pivot, which is actually what entrepreneurs do on a regular basis anyway, right? But like you said, this is a really big one and worldwide circumstances, worldwide experience, which again, as we said, everybody experienced differently, even though it was the same trigger that causes the experience. It's all very interesting.
Right. I think you nailed it. Everybody experiences it differently, and for me, my experience at first was like respond, so we did things differently, we solved the problems, whatever they were, whether they were in my developments, whether they were at the Women's Real Estate Network, whether they were at my Airbnb, right? Like it's like, okay, let's just see what we can do and let's get it together and let's see. But so long of that, for me, it wore on me. Wore on me, and then there was some family issues. My mother got sick and passed, and, not of COVID, but naturally she was 97, she had a beautiful long life, but still things hit you. Mm-hmm. And then, you are like, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And I think that's a question a lot of people are asking themselves. I think that's why we've seen such a migration across the US lately.
Yeah.
I'm in California. A lot of people live in California, baby.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them.
I did. I left California and I was back there actually a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, wow, I kind of like the feeling of California. It feels right. Although I never in my life thought I'd live in California. Now I was back there thinking, oh my gosh, this is Interesting. Anyway,
I got to
so
tell you, I was driving up the coast the other day, and I've been like, kind of wondering, well, do I stay here? I've had some very good friends move to Austin, some very good, the regular
yes,
places.
yes.
And, and I was driving up the coast and I was like, and it's beautiful here, but are you willing to pay for that? Like
Yeah.
they say that it's the coastal tax or something like that. I don't know, California coastal tax.
When I lived in Hawaii, they called it the luxury tax. So like
Yeah.
no, paradise tax, the paradise
Paradise
tax.
tax.
Yeah.
That's,
I was willing to pay it in Hawaii. I was.
Yeah. And then you change. And I think a lot of people are going through change right now,
Yeah.
whether it's in their businesses or whether it's in their personal lives. I mean, it's all attached.
Which we realize our businesses and our personal lives are so attached that when you're having problems in one, you're having problems in the other, and things just kind of cross over. You've been doing this for a very long time, Deborah, since 1990, and you had a design business for 20 years.
Did.
And you had your own firm?
I did. I had a little boutique design firm. I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit, and I loved music, and I started out as a designer in the record industry, and then branched out to having my own little boutique firm, and we did a lot of album cover designs, box sets, that kind of thing, and then moved into DVD as well as books. So it was really a lot of product designs. And then along the way, I've also had other businesses. And it's funny, I heard you in my bio, so many successful businesses. I've had them that failed as well, people. Lessons learned.
Thank you for sharing that, because all we ever hear about are the successful businesses and those people who seem to come out of nowhere and are now multimillionaires or billionaires.
Right.
And you're like, how many, hear their story, how many times they fell on their face, right?
Right. Yeah. And honestly, the biggest lesson from those businesses where I was really creating my own jobs. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was exchanging my time for money, and I was the operator in the business, not the owner of the business.
Oh, okay. So talk about that. That was not on our plan, but describe the difference between owning a business and making a job for yourself in a business.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of us entrepreneurs do, for a variety of reasons. First of all, when you start a business, most of the time it's just on your own, and you are the CEO and the janitor, right? You're everything.
All of it.
You're all of it. Buck stops here, baby. Yeah. And then, as things grow, being able to let go and to hire the right people and to trust them and to know how to set your business up for growth, right?
Yep.
Who's going to be taking care of the accounting? How much are you going to be involved in your books? These are all things that entrepreneurs have to decide, right?
Yep.
And how to grow, right? And I think I was even with my boutique design firm, it wouldn't run without me. And and in theory, like when you are the owner, you've got the mechanisms, the systems, the people, the process in place so that it will run without you, so that you're just dealing with some high level stuff and direction of the company, right?
Yes.
I spent, many of my entrepreneurs, and then I still do sometimes, depending on the business I'm in, of my years, operating the businesses, and some of them like really paid off. One of the businesses I was involved in was sold. It was a software company, was sold, and we got some money from that, and some of them didn't. Like one of the businesses I was involved in went broke, and we lost some money from that. And, and there are lessons learned along the way. But what really changed for me is an accident I was in, I guess it's about 12 years ago now. I was in a severe car accident and I broke my neck, people. It was horrible. It took me over a year to heal, but during that time, I had a lot of time to think. And I was like, wait a second, I want that passive income. Like my goal is to travel the world. My goal, is to spend more time with my kids and my family and have some fun, right?
Yeah.
And I was always working. And I think entrepreneurs tend to be that way. We have a fire inside of us, right? We're like, yeah, okay, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yes.
Almost there
Yes.
could go for years, let me tell you.
It can go forever, forever. So what I'm hearing in what you're saying is about as far as being an owner of a business and having a job that is your business, is that there needs to be systems put in place that it can run even if you do have a bad accident or laying in a bed, and if you had that system set up and that business set up in a way that you were truly the owner, you could talk on the phone and lead the business from your bed while you're healing, and you're still bringing in income. Is that right?
It's true, but I would rather use she's on an island someplace sipping,
I
some kind of
understand.
exotic drink instead of laying in a bed on an accident, right? I'd like to just, call from the sand and, right? I mean, it's about being able to put the systems in place and the people in place that will understand how you want to run the business that you have. And I talk about that a lot. A lot of people want to do rentals, and I do rentals as well. And when you look at the rental system, that is a system, right? The people know that they need to pay rent on the first. If they don't, there's a system involved. There's property managers involved that, that take care of that system. And if something breaks, there's people involved. And you need to train the people involved to run it your way, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you need to be involved. They need to know what your level of expectation is. My level of expectation is, we got a new water heater. Great. Send me the bill and a picture, it's trust and verify with me all the way. And they need to be trained that way, and they need to know that that's what they're going to send a picture of everything that they do, because that's what I asked for. But it takes a while to also get those relationships down.
I agree. And I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but the beach is a place for me too. I'd love that.
So, and that's not where I started from. Like, I didn't have any money after my accident. I hadn't worked for a year. So I needed a way to generate an income. And I think in real estate, we talk a lot about active income and passive income, right? And active income is the stuff that you're working for, right? So I started flipping. Flipping is not passive income. It is active income. You're doing it. You have to make decisions daily. You're in it. Right.
If you go away, it doesn't work. Right. So that's the biggest thing to know about your job, is if you go away, you're not making any money. So flipping is that kind of thing.
Unless you've created a system around flipping, right? But, for me, I was flipping to get the capital to buy the, long-term buy and holds to get the passive and the long-term wealth.
Yes.
Which takes time. And
and so that's the same. That would be what professional W-2 workers, they're doing their job. And if they're going to invest, they're doing their job to make the money to invest in something that's going to bring them passive income, so that ultimately they can get out of that W-2 job if that's what they want to do, or if they have an accident, or if they want to spend 3 months in wherever nice sunny place or the mountains or wherever they want to spend, and they know that they'll be able to support everything they want to support. So different ways to bring in that capital to make those investments and have that passive income.
So many different ways to bring the capital, and to make that passive income happen. And sometimes I think that's almost a danger, because, we in the industry call that shiny object syndrome.
It's hard to focus. That's right.
Hard to focus. Yeah.
And how have you focused, Deborah? Or do you think you're focused?
That's funny. I started out pretty focused. I was, flipping for the capital and then investing in long-term for passive. And then my investment strategies changed. In passive, I started investing in multifamily. And as I was flipping, I was gaining more skills, right? This is all skills. There's a lot of skills to learn. And I was gaining more skills. And one of them was, also bringing other people's money into play on my flips so that I could flip more at one time and also make other people money too. I had friends that, wanted to dabble and, they wanted to make some passive income as well. And it felt great doing that. And then I got an opportunity to develop. And so I moved into development. But it's interesting. And I'm just going to talk about the Women's Real Estate Network because that's how I actually started my opportunity for development. I was up at our Seattle chapter and I met a woman developer, and you don't meet a lot of women developers. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty male dominated place to be. And I met a woman developer and I was like, oh, you're a woman developer. That's so cool. And, and she was like, well, you're a flipper, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I used to be a flipper too. Developing's so much easier. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah, with flipping, you never know what you're going to get. And it's true. You get into a house, you never know what problems it has. You just have to go with it. And she goes, with developing, there's a lot of work up front. It's a lot of detailed work up front. But then once you start building, you're building ground up and it just goes up. And I was like, what a unique perspective for one thing, right? And there's no man that's ever told me, oh, it's easy. You could do it.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I came back from there thinking, could I do that? Right. And I mean, Felicia, I've known you a long time, and I think that we've both been around people that talk about, you got to fix this first.
Yeah.
You got to think you can first. Right. Yeah. But sometimes I don't even know, it wasn't even a dream of mine too, because I didn't even think it was something that would be accessible to me.
Yeah.
Yes. And when she put that little seed in my brain, I started looking around and I was like, maybe I could.
Isn't it interesting that thought you never had, and then you go someplace and you talk to somebody who you were just having a conversation with, and that thing got planted, which led you in a different direction than you ever thought you would go. It's
absolutely
so interesting. And it happens all the time, except in 2020 when something got put in our heads in a different way. But it's just like, something about, I don't know, maybe people get as much on Zoom as I get it in face-to-face, but I get a lot of that in the face-to-face conversations and in networking events with people. It just, I never knew that.
The people I've surrounded myself with have always been a source of inspiration to me. And it's harder to feel that on Zoom, Now that in LA, we're a little more relaxed here. And so it's been really nice to have dinners and get to talk to other people that are experimenting with other, different real estate ventures.
Yes.
And it's encouraging to me. It's inspiring to me, when I meet people that are doing really cool things and I think, that's possible.
Yes. So you talked about WREN. And how did WREN get started? Was that something that came out of, so how did you get up to Seattle to a WREN event? And that's something you started yourself.
Right.
Talk about that.
Right. So, so WREN started, like, in complete transparency, WREN started out of my own need. Okay. So I was flipping at the time, and the big hedge funds had come into Los Angeles and they were buying up all the auction homes, all the wholesale homes. It was like I was putting offer and offer and offer and offer, and I was losing out because they were overbidding, right? And there was a lot of flippers in the same situation I was. But honestly, and I think, you've heard this before, it's not a hard business, but you have to work it. It's a lot of work. And I was just frustrated. And I thought, where are my girls? I want to talk to my girls. I want to tell them how frustrated I am. And I just really got together a bunch of full-time women investors. They weren't all flippers. Some of them, a couple of them own storage units across the United States. There was somebody who does notes. There was another flipper there. There was, a lender there. It was a variety of women, but they were all full-time in real estate. And we got together and started, doing what women do, which is share our problems, but also share some solutions, right? Mm-hmm. Share some resources, give words of encouragement, Yes. I mean, just that kind of thing. At the end of the meeting, I was like, okay, I was thinking we'd do this quarterly, and they were like, no, let's do it every other month. And then people started opening up their homes and there was wine involved and it was great. And at one point I was like, honestly, those women, I have JV'd with, I have lent money to, they've lent money to me. We've partnered in different ways, right? Like it became my network, right?
Yeah.
And I really respected and trusted those women. And I thought, I think these women are killer. And there's all these real estate clubs out there that feature men at the front of the room.
Right.
And I want to share these women with women,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. I started to meet up and started having some of these women come, and they would come and they would talk about their business models for sure. But then they would just talk about how it is being a woman and juggling all that you juggle when you're a woman,
Right.
and in the workplace. And it, once again, it just became a area of education and support. And I think for women in this industry, statistically, women actually do better at investing than men,
Right.
but they don't do as much.
Right.
And it's because, there's a hesitation in pulling the trigger sometimes. And I think a lot of that has to do with confidence. The price tag's a lot higher, and there's a confidence thing. And we have this saying in WREN, we lend each other our confidence.
Nice.
Because it's like, okay, it's okay. You can do it. Let's go. Even if there are issues, because there's going to be issues, talking each other through it and coaching each other through it and supporting each other as you go along is what it's become, which is really nice.
Money with Mission is a real estate and business investment company that specializes in finding projects that have the potential to give you a great return on your investment dollar and make an impact in the communities where we invest. Make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Go to moneywithmission.com to learn more.
So you started out by yourself doing the flipping. Were you by yourself in that? And then you got partners and raised money and help other people invest, and you developed a network that way. And how did you meet these other women? Was that through the flipping that you knew these other women that you brought together for your brunches?
I met the other woman because I was out networking a lot. I was out at other real estate clubs, and I had a tendency, like usually at the real estate clubs, it's 70, sometimes 80% men.
Yes.
So, us women stand out. So, I would socialize with them. So I knew who was working and doing things. But the truth of the matter is, at most real estate clubs, there isn't a woman in the front of the room except for maybe once a year. And one of the other things that WREN does is help promote leadership. We give women a voice, a platform to get some experience, whether it's like just presenting a case study or whether it's actually being the focus speaker of an event, right? Because we don't have men promote, we don't have men speak at our club.
And it's not that we don't.
Can I say that without like any liability coming back at me?
Well, I was going to add, it's not because you don't like men.
Deborah, oh my God, it's so not because I don't like men.
It has nothing to do with liking men at all. It's about promoting women and bringing women to the front in this industry that for so long, if anybody who's gone to a real estate investing program, you will look around and count on one hand sometimes how many women are there. So this is about bringing women together to support each other. And it is a very, very different feeling in a WREN event than in some of those other events. It just is. And I don't know, it's because everybody else in there looks like me as far as breasts and other genitalia, or if there's it's just a different feeling.
I think it is that, and I've gotten tons of great education from them. It is not about, not liking men at all. It's about like when I see somebody like me doing something that I want to do or is successful at something, I'm like, it really connects the dots in my head that I could do it. Yes. If I'm watching a man, I'll give you an example. I was in the back of a room one time and there was a man, lecturing, and I was looking at my watch because I was like, oof, I wonder if that person is picking up my kid from school, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, I wonder if he worries about that while he's up there lecturing. And my innate response was no, I bet he doesn't. Yeah. The fact of the matter is that's something that we're all dealing with, or little alarms that go off inside of us, But when she's up there, I saw this woman, a dear friend of mine, up presenting, and she actually said, Oh, somebody's picking up my kids. Okay. And then she kept presenting. And I thought, she's my people.
I can relate. I can relate to that. And we can all relate to that and relate to it in some way about, I got to get groceries. I've got to make sure this happened. I got to make sure that happened.
Yeah.
And it's just our multi-brain, or it's not multi-brain, but the way we multitask in our heads that is actually different and has been proven. You can talk to some of the dating experts and the relationship experts who will definitely tell you that women think differently than men. And so it makes sense that when you're with your people and you are all thinking kind of the same, if not the same thing, but the same kind of way, you feel comfortable. It makes so much sense to me.
And on that note, I also am a true believer, that the way women do business is different, and it's more collaborative and more creative, and can be a lot more successful in the long run.
Yes. That way of doing things is definitely a collaborative way. We can definitely be masculine and compete with each other, but if you're doing it in a feminine way, it's more collaborative. There's more it actually just feels so much better for me. And it sounds like for you also.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So much.
Absolutely.
How did you decide to, I'm going to use the word franchise, but I don't think that's what you've done with WREN, but develop the different organizations, or is it one organization, multiple chapters? How did that work for you?
Yeah, it's one organization, multiple chapters.
Yeah.
And once again, this was all about, creating something that would help. It would generate, win-win situations, right? Seeing women come to the front of the room, seeing women taking on leadership roles. We started fostering leadership within our local areas, and then somebody would pop up and say, I want to be a chapter leader, which also took on another, set of leadership responsibilities, right? Mm-hmm. And so, that's how we started fostering those relationships. And, we've always been, when we first started out, we actually didn't go to your local hotel. We actually went to local boutiques and salons to have our meetings in, because we were like, look, we're women, right? These salons need people, clients. If they lend us their space, we're bringing women into find out more about them. And most of the time we get perked, like a 10% off of, a treatment or something, right? But the fact of the matter is it's women supporting other women organizations. And we're looking at women-owned businesses. So I've always really tried to look at things and go, okay, how can everybody win? You know what I mean? Yeah. How can we all foster and go forward together? But I mean, I think that's, once again, more of a collaborative way of looking at stuff, right?
I agree 100%. I love it so much. So we talk so much about WREN. How can anybody who's out there and wants to learn more about WREN find out more about WREN?
Oh, you know what? You can go to wreninspires.com, and it's just WREN, and, get on our mailing list or go to our calendar and see when our next events are. Yeah. Okay, perfect. We have events every month.
Perfect. And I think you have something for our guests. It was for our listeners. I'm sorry. What do you got?
So not too long ago, I got together a bunch of women that would tell their stories about being in real estate. And they were women from all different walks of real estate. So we have a digital You've Got This book that came out, and it's 10 stories from 10 different women in real estate. And so we're doing that as a giveaway.
Awesome. You can go to moneywithmission.com to get that. And all this stuff is going to be on in the show notes, and how to get in touch with Deborah, and Deborah's Instagram and Facebook and WREN and all those kinds of things are going to be down there. If you're doing something and couldn't remember WREN Inspires, it'll be in there too. Really, really check it out. Deborah and WREN are amazing. I love them all.
Well, I'm just going to take a minute to say how amazing you are, girl. We've kind of come up in the ranks together, and Money with Mission is just like an incredible way of putting how it is you want to live in this world. And I, totally respect that. I hope you know that.
Thank you so much. It took a while to get here, but I just finished writing a story for a book that's going to be coming out pretty soon called Ignite the Entrepreneur Within. And I got to tell the story, and it was interesting to look back at my life and see how I actually got here. And it just all made sense when I did that. It was a very, very fun thing to do.
Wow, it sounds very cathartic.
It was fun. So you guys, thank you so much. And Deborah, thank you so much for being here. Until next time.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can make a great return while positively impacting the lives of others. To learn more about today's guest or to download 7 steps to building resilient wealth for women, visit www.moneywithmission.com.
I hope you enjoyed the interview and are inspired to give your money a mission. Until next time, send your investment dollars into the world to bring you a financial return and improve the lives of others.